Let's take a little trip to the past. It's late August. We bought our truck 4 days ago. The Gooseneck ball hitch just arrived today, and we're leaving in 2 days from now to pick up our RV. Oh, and there's this little thing named Hurricane Laura that's going to hit the coast 60 miles west of us tonight. No pressure, right? Our truck is a 2015 Ford F350, and I'm installing a B W Turnoverball Hitch. If you know your way around a socket set, it's really not that bad of an install. So the instructions have a pretty good tool list that lists everything that you need. I already had most of these tools, but I was missing a 4-inch hole saw, so I had to run out and grab one of those. It also calls out torque wrenches, which I've got plenty of torque wrenches, but I didn't have one that was capable of going all the way up to 200 foot-pounds, so I had to pick up this monster as well. Okay, there's 6 pages of instructions. They're pretty simple to follow along. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this inventory and make sure we have all the parts so we can get started. The most nerve-wracking part for me is drilling a 4-inch hole in the bed of our brand new to us truck. So I found the right spot using a tape measure. It turns out there's a dimple in the bed right where I'm supposed to drill. Just to be sure, I confirmed it with a different tape measure. It's kind of surprising how fast that hole got drilled in the bed. I was expecting to have to work at it for a couple of minutes. I think it was less than 30 seconds. Let's hear it for new drill bits. The next step is to make sure the side plates of the hitch mount fit tight against the frame of the truck. In our case, the previous owner had some sort of fifth wheel hitch that was removed before we bought it. Unfortunately, whoever removed it left some bolts in the frame that had been pressed into place. I had tried removing them with a sledgehammer and a pneumatic hammer, but they wouldn't budge. So it's time to break out the cutoff wheel.
Bye-bye, horrible truck Bedliner. You've bled on me for the last time.
I don't know if you can make it out, but there's a couple of bolts that I ground off with a Dremel tool that were from the previous owner. Maybe it was designed for a different model truck or something, I don't know. He just sort of made it work. Anyway, he left the bolts sticking in the frame, and while they're getting in the way of the B W Turnoverball that we're trying to install, and it's a pain because they're pressed into the frame really, really tight. I've tried beating them out with a hammer, and of the 6 bolts I've had to remove, I was only able to get 1 that way. So the next step is I'm going to get the drill, and I'm just going to drill the bolt out and then hammer the remains out, and that should do it. It's time to make some noise. Okay, feeling accomplished.
Start with one drill, work towards the other.
To keep the edge of that hole from rusting, I went ahead and applied some touch-up paint. Our truck is a pearl white color, but that wasn't available at the local parts stores. So I went ahead and picked up Ford's base white color, and, well, this touch-up is going to be behind the hitch. It's going to be invisible. This is just to protect it from rust. That's the nice thing about buying a used truck instead of a new truck, is that you don't have to worry about being the first one to make a dent in it or a scratch in it or anything like that. Somebody else already took care of that for you. Once that's done, it's time to lift the hitch itself into place and then loosely install some bolts to hold it there. Alicia got into the bed of the truck to help me line the hitch up with the hole, and we got it in place pretty smoothly.
Back. Driver. You should have it, but slightly... Oh, no.
Damn it.
Nope.
I need the mallet.
Start over. Try this again. Philly. Or not. You just got it. Good job.
After that, I can go on to installing the side plates, and then it's time to tighten up all the bolts. And after all the bolts are snug, then there's the last step. Torque all the bolts to spec in the order called out on the instructions.
Okay, tighten the center sections to 110 foot-pounds. Do all 6 of those. Check to ensure that it's square with the frame. Then tighten the 3/4 inch side plate bolts to 200. And then tighten the 1/2 inch side plate bolts to 110. Then tighten the side plate to angle bolts to 110 as well. Okay. So that's the center ones, then the plates, and then the plate to the cross member. Okay. This is a little awkward. Not impossible, just awkward. That is 110 foot-pounds.
Success?
Only 5 more to do down here.
Woohoo!
6 1/4 inches on both sides. That's square. Awesome. Okay. This big honkin' nut needs to get tightened down to 200 foot-pounds of torque. Okay. Let's do it. Thank you. There.
The ball is secured to the hitch by a 3/4 inch pin that goes clean through it from one side to the other. The hitch is secured to the truck with a bunch of grade 8 bolts. I can't even remember how many, 8, 10 of them. It's a lot. It's strong enough to where you could actually lift the truck. I wouldn't recommend it, but it is rated for more weight than the truck weighs. So a couple of things that we like about the B W Turnoverball and the Reese Goosebox combination is that whenever we're done towing, it's really simple just to pull a lever, pull the ball out, turn it over, put it away, and then we have a clean, empty bed in the back of our truck. So we can just use our truck as a truck. The only thing that you have to remember is to engage the locking pin so that the ball is actually secured in the truck and won't accidentally pop out on you as you're going over bumps. Kind of important. Now the truck is done. It's time to do the trailer, right? Well, normally I'd say that installing the Reese Goosebox ourselves wouldn't be a problem. But we're going to be 1,300 miles from home, and we only have a limited set of tools. As much as I'd love to do everything ourselves, in this case, it just makes more sense to have the dealer install the Goosebox for us. And I can't complain. Tom Schaefer's service department did a great job, and even had the hitch adjusted perfectly. Okay, let's pause for a second here. I forgot to mention why we actually went with the Reese Goosebox and the B W Turnoverball. Well, first off, there's weight. We didn't want a dually pickup truck, so we had to go with something that was a good bit lighter. A standard fifth wheel hitch can weigh 250 up to 300 pounds, and that's a lot of weight that we could cut out by going with the B W Turnoverball, which only weighs 80 pounds. That let us get away with going with a single rear wheel truck. Number 2 is the warranty issue. Well, if you're going with a non-standard pin box, there's very few of them that will actually, at least that we're aware of, not void the frame's warranty. This is a brand new rig. We want to keep that warranty going as long as we can, so the Reese Goosebox is certified by Lippert to not void the warranty. Number 3 is the ride quality. We've heard horror stories about people with the cheaper fifth wheels or pin boxes having chucking issues and everything being really rough. Well, with the ball and socket of the Goosebox, there is almost no chucking at all. I mean, we can't feel anything as we're driving down the interstate. It's great. Additionally, the Goosebox has an airbag in it, which gives a nice cushy ride to our rig. Absolutely love it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to install this, so we don't have any video of it. But I'm going to go ahead and link up here to a good install video that covers this in great detail. You're going to love it. Now, the final thing is it's not been all smiles. There was an issue that we ran into with this. Whenever we went to unhitch from the truck once, well, more than once actually, we found that it didn't want to let go. We pulled the lever into the release position on the Goosebox and then started raising the trailer, and it started taking the truck with it. It started freaking out because the truck just kept getting higher and higher and higher. Not exactly what you want to see. Turns out the fix is pretty simple. Let's get to it. Little cable stop right here on our Goosebox has slipped a little bit. It's not as tight as it should be. It's actually moving back and forth. It's not a real problem until it comes time to unhitch, because now whenever we pull it to the unlocked position, it's not actually going fully unlocked. It's only going to about right here. So we're going to readjust the stop so it goes to where it needs to be. It uses a tiny little hex key to drive that set pin in place, so I need to find out which one fits. I'm gonna guess that it's a metric size, and we'll try those first. The smallest I have is 1.5 millimeter. Okay, and that's close. Let's test the next size up and see if the next size fits at all. Nope, if it's metric, it's 1.5. I'm gonna test the SAE sizes just to be sure. It's SAE, it's not metric. So what we have to do is loosen this set screw, adjust the stopper to where it needs to be on the cable, and then retighten that set screw. The set screw is a 1/16 of an inch size set screw, or has a 1/16 of an inch hex head for the set screw, and we're going to loosen it up a little bit. Now it moves freely. I'm going to pull this all the way to its full open position, and with the cable just slightly slack in the full open position, I'm going to tighten the set screw. Of course, this is one of those cases where having 3 hands is better than 2 hands. Hey look, a third hand.
Magically appears.
Dun dun dun.
I thought that was an ominous sound.
Okay, and then okay, let's see if this works. And that is loose enough where I can pull it out and put it back in place. And now we're going to tighten this all the way and make sure that it's not going to move again. What I was doing was putting tension on it and then releasing it a few times just to put some pressure on the set screw to make sure it's not going to slip. And there, see, I was able to tighten it a little further and make sure that this thing is set really solid and not going to come loose on us again. Well, the whole reason why we did this is to make sure that this lever, whenever we put it in the open position, stays in the unlocked position. There's a bar underneath here that traps the ball in place, and if this lever is not all the way in unlocked, whenever we go to unhitch, it will catch the truck and not release it. And we've actually almost lifted the truck before trying to get it unhitched. This is a pretty quick fix. It only took a minute or two to do. It wasn't even a really big problem. This was just something that wasn't fully tightened from the factory, and all we had to do was set the set screw a little harder and done. On to the next problem.